everyone, this is Anjali, and in this video I'm going to explain you how to solve your computer science paper. This paper is 2017 Delhi board question paper, and we will be solving all parts of the question paper one by one. So as you must have seen, if any of the previous year paper, you should be knowing that there are 7 questions in your paper. We have question 1 to question 7, which have different parts of your syllabus. Like question 1 is usually for the output questions, error finding questions, and header file thing, and any general question about C++. So that comes under your question number 1, which usually carries 10 marks. Then your question number 2 is for 12 marks, and it has all questions related to constructors, destructors, objects, classes, and inheritance. Then is your question number 3, that's for 15 marks, and it has questions related to arrays, matrices, and data structures. Question number 4 is for 6 marks, and it has questions regarding file handling. Then question number 5 is SQL, which is for 8 marks. Then question number 6 is for your Boolean algebra, and question 8 is for computer networks. So these 7 questions makes your whole paper. We'll be solving each of them one by one. So here now I'm going to start with question number 1, and I'm taking C++ as the language because there are very few schools who have Python as a language in the option. If there are any Python students who are watching my video, so when I solve that section, please write in the comment section if you need the code for Python. Otherwise, I'll be solving the papers for C++ for the time being. Now, let's start with your question number 1. So question number 1, as we know, is for the basics of C++ and regarding the outputs. So this is your last year paper where your question number 1 says that you have few tokens. Tokens means any names for something. We have to tell whether those names are keywords or normal identifiers. So as you can read this question, write the types of C++ tokens, keywords, and user-defined identifiers from the following. So I have to tell whether these 4 are keywords or they are user-defined identifiers. Now the first word is for. Now this for is having F capital. If it would have been small, then it is a keyword for the for loop, but it's not small, it is capital. So it is a user-defined identifier. So I have to mark it as a user-defined identifier. Delete. Now delete is a keyword which is used to deallocate memory during the execution of the program. Like new is used to allocate the memory, we have delete keyword to deallocate the memory. Then is default. Default is, yes, it's again a keyword. We use it with the switch statement. So when we have switch in C++, we use it as a general case which should be executed if none of the case matches. So default case is executed, so it's a keyword. Then comes value. Value is no keyword, so it is a user-defined identifier, which could be a name for a variable or for a function or anything like that. So simple, such an easy question for 2 marks. So that's how we identify whether it's a variable or it's a keyword. So this question was from the basics of C++. Then comes a header file question for 1 mark. The question could be straightforward. It could be asked directly like which header files you should include, but in this paper they have given it in the form of a case study. Like they've told, like Anil typed the following C++ code, and during compilation he found 4 errors as follows. That is, function strlen should have a prototype. Then usually we get this error if the header file is missing for the function. Then undefined symbol cout, undefined symbol endl, function getCache should have a prototype. So on asking, his teacher told him to include necessary header files in the code. You have to write the name of the header files which Anil needs to include for successful compilation and execution of the following code. Now for using this strlen, which header file we need to include? Yes, it has to be string.h. So I need to include string.h for using any function related to strings. So if I have to use string length, string compare, string reverse, string copy, any of these. For all of these, we need to include string.h as a header file. For these two, cout and endl, I have to include the header file named iostream, because C in cout are the objects which are defined in your header file named iostream.h. So we have to include this file. Sorry, it is E. So it is iostream.h. This has to be included for using cout and endl. Now we are left with getchar. For getchar, now getchar is a function which is defined in another header file named stdio.h. So to use this function, you need to include stdio, standard input output dot h, that is the header file. So this is how we have to include the header files. This question is for 1 mark. Then comes rewrite the following C++ code after removing any or all syntactical errors with each correction underlined. So you have to show these errors first. So I have to write the wrong code like this, and I have to assume that the header files are included. But now when the code starts, first thing you should check is that any of the keywords should not be in capital letters. So void is a keyword written all small, fine. M is also small. Curly brackets for main are there, it's okay. Semicolons are there where required, fine. Now n is being used here and it is not declared. So first error. Second error is we must have curly brackets here, which are not there. So that's another major error. Third error is that after cases we must have colons. 2 dots should be there, it's not there. So that's your third error. It is not there after case 1 as well. Then I have break. Now in break, again, B should have been capital. So we must have B should have been small. It's capital here, but B should be small because break is a keyword and keywords are always given in small letters. So break has to be all small. So it has to be all small. So the correct code for this would be like this. We have to write cout an integer, int n has to be declared. It was not declared in the code over there, so we need to declare it here. Then we have to put the curly brackets here with switch. We have to put these colons here after 0 and 1, and this break has to be small. So first you're going to write down this code, underline the mistakes, and then you're going to write the correct code for this. So this is how the correction can be done, and usually if the question is for 2 marks, you will be getting 4 errors over there, and we get the result accordingly. Now we have 3 more questions in question number 1, and all those 3 questions are related to outputs. Now this first question is to find the output. Here we have used 2 major things. One, a string is being used, and second thing is the special function is being used, which is called macro. Now hash defined tag is the one which is executed before the compilation of the program. So wherever in the program we have big A comma B, it will be replaced by this thing. So let's see where it is being used in main. In main we have a string W in which we have put exam. Exam is the string, so if I put it in exam, E will be at position 0, then X will be at position 1, A will be at position 2, and M will be at position 3. And at the end we have a null character because the string is terminated with the help of a null character. So your string is going to be stored like this. It will be exam. So E is at position 0, X is at position 1, A is at position 2, and M is at position 3. At 4 we get a special character called null. The next line is int L is equal to string length W. That means the length of the string is 4, which goes to the variable L. Then you have your loop which starts from I is equal to 0, I less than L minus 1, I plus plus. Now L minus 1, that means 4 minus 1, that's 3. If I work for less than 3, that means the loop will work for 0, 1 and 2. It will not work for 3 because the condition is less than 3. Now what it does every time the loop works, when I is 0, it comes here and it becomes big Wi, comma Wi plus 1. I is 0 right now, so big W0, comma W1. So at W0 I have capital E, at W1 I have small x. So when it checks whether capital E is greater than small x, it will be false, because the ASCII value for capital letters is from 65 to 97, 65 to 90, and small letters is 97 to 122. So that shows that capital letters have a smaller ASCII value. So the comparison is done between the ASCII values, so the condition becomes false. So we have to choose one of the two options, either A plus 1 or B plus 2. So the condition is false, so B plus 2 should be selected. B plus 2 means the letter B, which is Wi plus 1, should be increased by 2. So at W1 I had X. When I increase X by 2, I get Z. And that should be stored at position 0. So in my string at position 0, I get Z. Then I is increased, becomes 1. Now it's going to compare W1 and W2. So W1 is X and W2 is A. X greater than A is true. So A plus 1 will be stored at position 1. A plus 1. A is the first letter, which is X. X plus 1 is Y. So the letter at position 1 changes to Y. Then I becomes 2 and it compares W2 with W3. So W2 is A, W3 is M. A greater than M is false. Since it's false, we're going to take B plus 2. Second letter is M, that means M plus 2. M plus 2 will be O, M and O, and that goes at position 2. Then I becomes 3 and condition becomes false. It stops. So the output of your code is this, Z, Y, O, M. So I get the output as Z, Y, O, and M. So all small letters. This is the output of your question number D. So it is a quite tricky question, since you have conditional operator in this, you have a macro in this, and you have strings. So just be careful, solve your steps one by one, and you can eventually get the proper output. That's how we use strings. Now the next question is based on arrays. We have an array which has 6 values in it. So it's a 3-mark question. And now we have a loop which is changing the values in the array, and accordingly we're going to print them. Now as you see, I is 0. I less than 6 is true. It comes here and checks if AI mod 2 equal to 0. I is right now 0. At AI I have 10. 10, that is A0. A0 mod 2 equal to 0. Yes, it's true. A0 is divisible by 2. Then what are we supposed to do? We are going to divide it by 2. So AI divide equal to 2. So that means this 10 should change to 5. So this becomes 5. It will not check else if, because if this condition is true, else if should not be checked. But check out carefully over here. Here, this is not part of else if. Here, it's again an independent if statement. It is not the part of above if else, because there is no else here. So this condition has to be checked for everything for which whether this one was true or this one was true. So it is going to check this again. Now it will check AI mod 5. AI is now 5. 5 mod 5 is 0. Yes, true. So it should be divided by 5 and the value should be stored in AI. So now instead of 5, there should be 1. So it becomes 1. Goes up here, I becomes I plus plus, so I becomes 1. At A1 we have 12. 12 mod 2 is 0. True. So 12 will be divided by 2 and it becomes 6. Then it will not go to the else if, it will come here, it will check if 6 mod 5 is 0, it's not, so it's not modified. Then I becomes 2, A2 is 15, 15 mod 2 0 is false, so it checks 15 mod 3 is 0, yes it is true, so 15 is divided by 3 and we get 5 instead of 15. Then it comes out and checks this condition, 5 mod 5 equal to 0, this condition is true again. So this 5 will be changed to 1. Then I increases and becomes 3. At 3 we have 17. 17 mod 2 0 is false. 17 mod 3 0 is also false. 17 is not divisible by 5 as well. So it remains 17. There is no change in that. Then I becomes 4. At 4 we have 20. 20 divisible by 2 is true. So it changes and becomes 10. Then it will go to the outer if. This one, it checks if 10 mod 5 is 0. Yes, that is also true. So it's divided by 5 and now it becomes 2. Then it goes for 30, that's at position 5. 30 mod 2 is 0. It becomes 15. And then it comes here, AI mod 5. Yes, it's again divisible. So it is again divided by 5 and becomes 3. So this is the new set of values in my array. And now this loop is going to print these values. So I is 0, it prints A0, that is 1. Then there is a hash sign after this. So it will print 1 and hash. Then it becomes 1. So A1 is printed, which is 6. So I get 6. After 6 again, hash sign will be printed. And after 6, the next value is 1 again, that is at A2. Again, your hash sign will be printed. So on, it will print all the array values. So it will print 17, which is as it is. It didn't change. So 17 will be like this only. Then I'll get the hash sign. Then I'll get 2. Again, the hash sign. And we get finally 3 and the hash sign. So this is the output of your code. So you have to change each and every position of the array depending upon the conditions, and the final output is the final set of values in the array. So for this question number E, your final output is this: 1 hash, 6 hash, 17 hash, 2 hash, 3 hash. So that's how we use arrays in the output questions. Then comes the question number F, which uses random function. So whenever you have random function in the question is asked like this, that there would be a possible set of options and you have to choose what will be the possible answer for your question. So look at the following C++ code and find the possible outputs from the options 1 to 4 following it. Also write the maximum values that can be assigned to each of the variables R and C. Assume all header files are included and the random function generates an integer between 0 and n-1. Okay, so first of all it's written R is equal to random 3. So random could get 0, 1 or 2. So there could be 0, 1 or 2 in R. So the maximum value which R can get is 2. Similarly for C, random 4 means I can have 0, 1, 2 or 3. So I can have 0, 1, 2, 3. So maximum value would be 3. Now I have a 2D array of size 3 by 3. That means I have 3 rows, 3 columns having these values, and we are printing this matrix. And I'm supposed to tell which of the following outputs would be the valid output. I is 0, I less than R. Now we just saw that R could be 0, 1 or 2. In case I is 0, the loop will not work only. In case I is 1, the outer loop will work once. In case R is 2, the outer loop will work twice. So the outer loop is going to work either once or twice. That means either one row will be printed or 2 rows will be printed. So the outputs which have 3 rows in them, like the option number 1 and the option number 4, they can't be the possible outputs. So I can rule out these 2 options. Now I'm left with option number 2 and option number 3. Now let me check the loop for the column. J is 0, J less than C. C could be 0. If it is 0, it won't work at all. If it is 1, it will print only first column of each row. If it is 2, it will print 2 columns of each row. If it is 3, it will print 3 columns of each row. So option number 2 has 3 columns of each row, first 2 rows. So this can be the valid option. Then option number 3 has first 2 values of each row and it is printing only the first 2 rows. This can also be the possible output. So option number 2 and option number 3 could be the possible outputs for this question. So that's how we solve output questions in C++. So you usually get similar kind of questions. We also get output questions on the basis of classes and structures and pointers. It depends which questions come, but there are different type of logics which you have to use. Just main criteria for solving output questions is just follow the steps, follow the order, and just keep executing each and every single statement, and eventually you will get to the result. So this was question number 1 of question paper 2017, Board, Delhi. So in the next video, I'll be coming up with question number 2. I hope you understood how the logic works and how we got the outputs. In case of any doubts, do write in the comment section. I'll get back to you. If you found the video useful, do click the like button and share with your friends and subscribe the channel so that you are updated with the latest uploads. Thank you.